Today we're going to go over the parts of the sewing machine. We are first going to start with the hand wheel. The hand wheel is located right here on the right hand side of the sewing machine. When you grasp the hand wheel, you want to cup your hand like this and hold it. And you always want to turn the hand wheel toward your body. It is always turned toward your body. It is never turned away, but always toward you. As you turn this hand wheel moves the needle up and down. And one revolution of up and down forms a stitch. And also, as the needle goes up and down, we have what's known as the take-up lever. This take-up lever moves as I move the hand wheel. As I turn the hand wheel, the take-up lever will go down and it will come all the way back up again. This is extremely important to remember because when you thread the machine, the take-up lever always has to be in its highest position. And when the take-up lever is in its highest position, the needle is in its highest position. And so the hand wheel, the take-up lever, and the needle are all connected. Now let's move to the presser foot. The presser foot right now is in its up position, and that's the way you would like the machine when you begin to thread the machine. When you sew, the presser foot must be in its down position, and in order to get the presser foot in its down position, we are going to put our right hand through this opening and we're going to hold what's called the presser foot lever. We are going to hold it and we are gently going to lower it, holding it as we lower it. So you hear not a sound, but it's very quiet. So it's up when we thread and it's down when we sew. Presser foot lever, presser foot. Now let's move on to the on and off switch, which is very important. Right here on the right hand side, that is where you turn the machine off and on. And when you leave the machine at the end of the period, make sure the machine is off. Right now we're going to put it on because we're going to move on now to the reverse button. Just like a car, we want to go forward and we want to go backwards. And so in order to make the machine go backwards, we want to hold down the reverse button. And when we leave go of it, the machine will go forward again. Above the reverse button is what is called the stitch length. We can have teeny tiny stitches or we can have very big stitches. Depending on what grade you're in and depending on the project you're doing is going to determine where we set this dial. The smaller the number, the smaller the stitch. Bigger the number, bigger the stitch. But for most of your projects and for most grades, not unless I tell you otherwise, the stitch length is going to be set at 2.5. That's the dot between 2 and 3. Now we're going to move up to the button above it, dial above it. And for straight stitching, we want to put this on B. And so for our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade projects, to thread the machine and to begin, we want to start off with the stitch length at 2.5 and the stitch selection dial on B. The stitch selection dial regulates what kind of stitches we're going to do. And up here there's a panel and it describes all the different kind of stitches that this machine will do. Depending again on the project you will be doing will determine what stitch we're actually going to do. But to begin, we always want it on B and 2.5. So when you walk in the room, it should be on 2.5 and B. And when you leave the room, you must reset the dials to 2.5 NB. We're next going to move on to the parts of filling a bobbin. For those who don't know what a bobbin is, a bobbin is goes in the bottom of the machine and it is filled with thread. Right up here is our bobbin winder mechanism. And we'll talk about that a little later when we actually wind some bobbins. But as far as parts of the machine, you have the spindle and the latch. Now let's move to the bottom of the machine. The bottom of the machine is called the bed. And the bed is connected to the arm of the machine right here. So we have the bed, we have the arm, and if we want to do what's called free arm, we'll put our hands underneath here and we'll pull this out. When we pull it out, this allows us to sew around in a circle. In 7th grade, we use free arms. Right now, I'm going to put this right back in and it slips right back. On the bed of the machine, we have what's called the slide plate. We have the throat plate. We have the bobbin cover. And to open the bobbin cover, we want to push this dial to the right, it pops up. When you take it off, I want you to place it right here so it does not get lost. And this is where our bobbin will go. We'll just drop it in there like that. To lift up this presser foot so you can see the feed dog. And as I turn the hand wheel, that feed dog is going to rotate. And right now, it's going forward. If I put the machine in reverse, you can see the feed dog move. I'm going to turn my hand wheel again toward my body, and now it's going to rotate backwards. So we have a forward and a backwards, and like the wheels of a car, that's what pushes the car is the wheels of the car. This is what pushes our fabric. And when we put the pressure of the presser foot on the feed dog, that's what moves our fabric or whatever we're going to sew. So now we're going to review the parts of the sewing machine. We have the hand wheel. Always turn towards your body, whether you're going forward or backwards, always turn towards your body. We turn the machine on and off right here. Moving around to the front of the machine, we have the reverse button. Use your thumb, hold it all the way down. When you want to go forward, gently leave it go. We have the stitch length button. The stitch length button regulates the size of the stitches. We have the stitch selection button. That determines what type of stitch we are going to sew. And we have the panel above the machine, or the panel above the button that identifies what stitch we want to use. We also have the spool holder and the spool pin, and that's where our thread will go. We have the bobbin winder. We have the take-up lever, which is always in its highest position when we're going to thread the machine. We have the needle. We have the presser foot. We have the presser foot lifter. We have the throat plate, the feed dog, the bobbin cover, the bobbin case, which is all of this. And the one last thing is we have what's called the pedal foot. And the pedal foot is what electronically will move the machine. The hand wheel moves it manually. The foot pedal moves it electronically. We have the bed of the machine. We have the arm of the machine. We have, if we want to make the machine a free arm, we can pull out this case. We slide it right back on like that. And I put this back on. We're just going to get it in the notches there and pop it in. And that are all the parts of the sewing machine which you need to know in order to complete your projects.